guys, welcome back. I'm so sorry for the 2-week absence. I did not mean to disappear for this long, but my semester has started up again and I've been drowning in uni work. I did 3 assignments this week that took forever, so I'm really sorry for not posting in a while, but I'm hoping that it will get better, that I will be on top of my work soon and then I can film a bit more and also read more because I have not been reading a ton. But for today, I thought we would do something really fun that I love watching. I love watching videos like this, and that is when people show you their entire TBR. So today, I will be personally introducing you to every single book currently residing on my TBR. Some have like a year-long residency here, some have multiple year-long residencies on my TBR. Others have only been here for a little while, some only a couple of weeks. So we've got a wide array of different books on here. So yeah, let me show you every single unread book that I own. I'm also doing this to hold myself accountable because I want to know how many I have, and also I just want to see the amount so that I can prioritize them and actually read them. Also, if you spot any books that you really like and you think that I should read them soon, please let me know, because that is the best motivation for me to put them like onto my June or July TBR and read them really soon, because I really want to get to all of these books. It's just that the sheer amount overwhelms me and I never know which ones to pick first. So if you have favorites on here, let me know and I will make sure to prioritize them. Okay. I will try to keep this really quick fire and like really short, so we're not doing any long like synopses or anything. I'll probably just tell you like the title, how long it's been on my TBR, maybe how likely it is that I will actually read it sometime soon, and then we'll move on to the next book. So let's start with the book I'm currently reading, and that is Utopia Avenue by David Mitchell. I'm currently on page 84. This is on my May TBR, so I am actively trying to read the books on my May TBR and I'm already loving it. Like, I'm already really obsessed, and I'm so glad that I finally got to this, because I think this has been on my TBR for like at least a year, maybe a year and a half, something along those lines. And I've been meaning to read this for so long, and I'm really glad that I finally picked it up and that I will be reading it this month. Let's just continue with the books that are on my May TBR, because I've already spoken about those in my last video, so we can go through them really quickly. So next I have Possession by A.S. Byatt. This is a modern classic about 2 PhD students who write their theses about these, I think, Victorian poets? Yeah, Victorian poets. I bought this sometime last year in, I think, like September last year, so it's only been on my TBR for a couple of months. I had a class where this was mentioned and we kind of had a lecture about this, and it sounded really fun, really good, and I'm hoping to pick this up in May, but I also know that this is like, yeah, 600 pages long, so we'll see how that goes, but hopefully I'll be reading it this month. Next we have a book from my favorite author, namely Taylor Jenkins Reid, because the book is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid and I really do want to read her entire backlist, but I also know that I love her like famous people novels a lot more than I love her romances, but I do want to get through her like backlist of romances, and I've had this one for a while, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. I think it's coming on 2 years, but I don't know, I've just never really prioritized it because I've never really been super interested in it, but knowing that it's Taylor Jenkins Reid, like I know I will enjoy it. It's just a matter of time, like when I pick it up. But it has made it onto my May TBR, so hopefully I will actually read this really soon. And I think I will, because the weather has been really nice these days, so I think this is the perfect book to like take to the park, read during like a picnic, or like while sunbathing a little bit, so we'll probably read this month. Next is a book that I also bought last summer and that I'm really excited for, and that is Queenie by Candice Cuddy-Williams. I've had amazing things about this one, and I know that the subject matter is one that I love. Like, it's set in London, always a bonus for me. I love books set in London, and it is a about a girl. I think she's going through a breakup and like kind of like figuring out who she is, redefining herself after the breakup. And I love books like that. I love books about like heartbreak and finding yourself after heartbreak. So I'm excited to read this one this month. Okay, that was my May TBR, or like the rest of it, those that I haven't read yet. So let's continue with the rest of my TBR. This is not in any order from now on. I will just pick books and speak about them. So next I have a really hyped up romance, and that is Caught Up by Liz Tom Ford. This is the third book in the Windy City series, a series that I personally really love. I read the other books as ebooks, but I got this one as a physical copy, and I'm really excited for this. The entire series is like athletes romance, like sports romances basically, and they're always really, really fun, really cute. Like I actually think these are like some of the cutest sports romances I've read that are also kind of somewhat, well, not realistic as they can be, but they're really well written, really well done. The characters are really nicely like fleshed out and they feel very real. So I'm excited for this. But it is like a single dad trope, and I don't love those tropes. I haven't read that many single dad tropes, but it doesn't attract me as much. It doesn't really like pull me in. So I'm not sure when I'll read this. I do want to, but I feel like someone needs to like tell me it's good and like push me to read it, because I just never pick it up like just for myself. So if you have read this and you think it's good, let me know, because then maybe I'll read it sooner. Next, I actually have 2 Irish novels. So I went to Dublin a couple of weeks ago, and there I picked up, what is it called? You Have to Make Your Own Fun Around Here. This is an Irish novel that was a finalist for the 2020 People's Book Prize, apparently. And I just saw it, I like the cover, I really like the title, and it's like a coming of age novel, I think, about moving from a small Irish town to Dublin, as far as I understood. And yeah, it's just really sounding like a novel about friendship, about like growing up, coming of age, and I love those kinds of novels, like perfect. So I'm excited to read this. Next, we have another Irish book that I got for my birthday this year, and that is Exciting Times by Naoise Dolan. This is like another literary fiction. I recently read The Happy Couple by Naoise Dolan, and although it wasn't a favorite, I did really enjoy it, and I liked her writing style and her like way of describing stories and forming characters. So I am really excited to read Exciting Times. I think this is about a girl from Ireland who goes to Hong Kong for like a gap year, and as a fellow gap year girly who went away for a year after school, I love stories about that, so I'm excited to read this one as well. The next book I bought sometime last year, and I was so excited for it. I said I was going to immediately read it, immediately pick it up. I've heard so many incredible things about it, and then I think I got intimidated and I never picked it up, and that is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. Why have I not read this yet? This is like everyone's favorite fantasy book, and I'm like, I just haven't picked it up yet. I just have not read it yet. I don't know why. I know I'm going to love this, but I think the issue why I haven't picked it up yet is I'm undecided if I want to read the Caraval series before, or if I don't want to read it before, because I don't have the Caraval series yet, and I'm not sure if I should like buy it and like read it, but then that's another like 3 books I need to read before this one, or if I should just go into this directly. So if you have any tips, if I should read Caraval first or if I can skip it and just read this, let me know. But I do want to pick it up, so maybe I will just try and read it the next few months and just not read Caraval. Next, we have another book that I got, and I thought I would immediately read it and like immediately pick it up, and then I just didn't. But it's a book that I heard really amazing things about because everyone seems to love it, and that is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. This is a really short, I think like literary fiction, and I thought this would be like perfect for a 24-hour readathon, but I just haven't been doing 24-hour readathons a lot lately because I am so busy and I can never take a full day of work. Like I am doing uni work every single day, so I've not had 24 hours to do a readathon in for quite a few weeks now, so maybe for my next one. Okay, next I have a couple of thrillers. So first I have The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I bought this back in 2023 because all of my friends were saying that Lisa Jewell writes like amazing thrillers, and so I got this one, and then after I had bought it, everyone said, oh, this one's like not her best, like this one is like pretty mediocre, like her better ones are like her other books. And so I was like, oh, maybe I bought the wrong one. So I haven't read it yet because I'm a little bit like, oh, if it's not that good, why should I invest my time in it? So let me know if you liked this one and if you would recommend I read it, or if you didn't like this one, let me know what other Lisa Jewell book I should get and read, because I do want to get into her books, but I'm not sure where to start. Then we have a thriller slash horror from one of my favorite authors, and that is My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. I love this cover. I think it looks so cool, but I think I've been saving this one. I think I have been saving this one for myself, and I don't want to read it because I have such high expectations, and I really want to read it like at the perfect moment when I can be fully immersed in the story, and that moment just hasn't come yet. I never have time to like fully commit to a book. So I haven't read this one yet, but I'm really excited to, and I'm hoping that I will read this in like the next like 2-3 months, because I really want to, and I think this will be like a 5-star, like this is a 5-star prediction, so I need to read this. Next we have a book that I'm not sure if I will ever read, but let me show you. It's House of Leaves. So I got this book from Jamie when I was in New Zealand because she had done an unhaul a couple of days before I came, and she said that I could just pick through her unhaul and just pick any book that I wanted to take. And very foolishly, I picked House of Leaves because I was like, you know, maybe I want to try and read it. Maybe I want to be like quirky and fun and read this book. So if you don't know House of Leaves, it's basically a really weird book that has like really weird formatting. Like some pages are essentially like completely empty. Other pages are like have really weird formatting. So it's apparently like the scariest book ever, and like really hard to read, like just completely strange. I think it's the like strangest book to exist, apparently. It's also like kind of like found manuscript vibes. It's like pretending to be like a found book that's been like passed on for generations. So really like gothic vibes kind of. And yeah, it's also fucking heavy. This weighs so much. I don't know. I do want to read it. Let me know if I should like make a video like trying to read this, but it hasn't happened so far, and I'm just a bit terrified of reading it and possibly wasting my time on it too. Next I have another book that I got from Jamie's unhaul, and that is Gallant by V. Schwab. I have never read a V. Schwab before, but I know she's really popular and like she has a lot of books out that like people really love. So I thought I would, you know, maybe try this one. I really want to read some V. Schwab this year, so maybe Gallant will be the first one. I think this is a YA fantasy, but honestly I have no idea what it's about. I don't know, but hopefully I'll read this sometime this year. Actually, I have another V. Schwab, let me show you. I also have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. My friend Kiala loves this book and has highly recommended it to me, and I trust Kiala, I trust her opinion, and so I really want to read this. I think this is also like a fantasy about a girl who is always forgotten, like whoever she meets forgets her like right after their encounter, and it sounds really fun. It's a chunky boy, it's another big book, and I have fear of big books, so you know, we'll see when I pick it up, but please motivate me to pick it up because I want to read it. It's just, again, I'm so busy, and like it's hard to pick up big books when you're that busy because it will take you like 3 weeks to read a single book, and I want to read more. I really want to like consume more books than that. Next we have another fantasy that was originally on my April TBR, but unfortunately I didn't get around to reading it. and that is Starling House. I was gifted this for my birthday from one of my best friends, and I think the cover is absolutely beautiful. Like, isn't this like the most gorgeous book you've ever seen? I really don't know what it's about. I think it's kind of like gothic vibes too, about like a like abandoned manor or something. I have no idea. Okay, yeah, House Full of Secrets. This sounds so good. I really want to read this soon. This is on the very top of my TBR. I really want to prioritize this soon and get to it. Hopefully June will be the time. Then next up we have the last book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, Capturing the Devil. I have been making my way through the Stalking Jack the Ripper series for the last few months, I think since like November of last year, and I've been making good progress and I've been enjoying it so much. This has genuinely become one of my favorite series to read. I really love this and I have grown so attached to the characters. The third book was spectacular. I read it just a few weeks ago and I'm really excited for the finale. I hope this lives up to my expectations and is a worthy conclusion to the series that I have enjoyed reading so much, and it's been so nice to be immersed in a like YA like world again after so long. So I'm really excited to read this. Guys, I've just been stacking up the books next to my bed. The stack is growing concerningly large. I'm terrified. Next up, I have another romance. This is one that I am currently borrowing from my friend, and that is Business or Pleasure by Rachel and Solomon. This is just a really like fluffy, cutesy romance that is supposed to be really like just like fun, just a fun summer read. And now that the weather is better, I definitely see myself reading this like on the balcony or like sunbathing in the park, by the pool, whatever. I see myself reading this very soon, also because I'm borrowing it, so I have to give it back. So it cannot be on my TBR for the next 2 years. I have to read it this summer or I'll give it back unread, but I don't want to do that, so this should be read relatively soon. Next, I have two Fredrik Backmans. So we have Anxious People and The Winners. Anxious People was also on my April TBR, but unfortunately I just did not have the time to read it. Again, I got too busy with uni and my reading went like this. Like, I just wasn't reading much anymore. So I still have this on my TBR, but I really want to get around to this soon. I think this could be another 5-star. And I just love Fredrik Backman's writing. I love his way of crafting stories and characters, and I really want to read some of his stuff again, so maybe this one. Actually, even more, I should be reading The Winners by Fredrik Backman, because my friends have borrowed Beartown and Us Against You from me, and they are both waiting for me to finally read The Winners so that they can borrow it from me and read it too. But like, I want to read it first. Like, I want to finish the series, and I've been meaning to forever, but again, the fear of big books has made it impossible, because this one is like over 600 pages. Yeah, it's like almost 700. It's like 670 pages, and I just, again, I don't have the time. But I should be prioritizing this and like reading it soon so that my friends can actually borrow it from me. Otherwise, I will just give it to them first. But I really want to read this. I'm so scared that the stack is gonna just collapse next to me. Oh my god. So if we were speaking of fear of big books, I also have A Little Life. Listen, I never thought I would read A Little Life. I never wanted it. I never considered like buying it and reading it. This is just meant to be a really like traumatic, like really sad book, like a book that makes you cry, makes you sob, makes you feel so much for the characters that like you're just like suffering with them. And I never wanted to read it, but then like one of my friends read it and she was like, oh yeah, I want to discuss it with you. And I was like, oh, I feel FOMO. I want to know, like, I want to be able to discuss this book and like have an opinion about it. I want to be able to like have a valid opinion and like ground my opinion in like my own personal experience with the book. And so I asked my friend if I could borrow it from her and read it. Again, I'm not sure if it's going to happen or if I will just give the book back to her at some point unread, because I just didn't find the time to. But ideally, I would be reading this and just like forming my own opinion about the book, because ultimately that's really what I want to do. It's not that I'm thinking I'm gonna love it, I don't think I'm gonna hate it, I just really am curious what I think of the book. Like, I'm really just curious what my opinion will be. But yeah, that's a little life. Okay, we are done with like the first half of my TBR, all the ones that are not in my like actual TBR shelf. But I would suggest that now we move a bit closer to my actual bookshelves and we look at the TBR shelf on my bookshelf. Okay, welcome to my bookshelves, and this right here, so this bottom shelf is my TBR shelf. Originally I was gonna put all of my unread books on here, and that was gonna be like the space I have for them. Needless to say, I've already shown you about like 25 books that did not fit on here, so I've had to find other spaces to put them, but this is the original TBR shelf, so let's go through the books on there. Okay, first up we have The Guest by Emma Cline. This is a thriller that I got sometime last summer. I found a signed edition and I was like, ooh, signed, let me buy this. And then only afterwards I found out that like I don't actually know what this is about, I have no idea, but I love a thriller and I always love having like a lot of thrillers on hand so that I can just like pick one up if I want to. And I like to go into my thrillers quite blind, so I don't actually mind that I don't know what this is about. But yeah, hopefully I'll read this at some point when I'm in the mood for a thriller. Next we have a classic, and that is Camilla. Again, this was on my April TBR, I didn't have the time to read it. But this is a classic about female vampires. I think I've heard somewhere that they're lesbians, but either way, this is like the original vampire story, even before Dracula. And it sounds phenomenal, it sounds super fun. I have this gorgeous copy, and yeah, I do want to read this soon. Hopefully this year will happen. Next, I have If We Were Villains by ML Rio, the famous Dark Academia. I haven't read it yet. I got this beautiful 5-year anniversary edition. It's also signed. Damn. And I picked this up and I thought I would read it like immediately. And then I just wasn't in a Dark Academia mood anymore. I just was not in the mood for Dark Academia. I bought this in 2022. I have not picked it up for like a year and a half. I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like the hype has kind of died down and no one's speaking about it anymore, and therefore I've just been less motivated to read it. So, I don't know. I still plan on reading this, and I think at some point I will be in a Dark Academia mood again. It just has not been right now. I feel like maybe this is more of like a fall and wintry book, so I'm not sure how soon I'll read it, but I do want to. Next, we have a book that I probably need to do some explaining for, because that is Myrtle. So this is kind of inspired by Wordle, the game, like the New York Times game, and I think it's like 100 like murder mysteries that you can solve. So it has like, if you can see, it has like persons and clues and like different parts of the story, and you get to put it all together and like figure it out. There is even like little things that you can fill out at the end and like solve the mystery. I really want to do this. I might even make a video about it. My friend Cam really wants me to do a video about Myrtle, so maybe I will make a video or in a vlog sometime, like try to solve some of these mysteries. Although I think I will be humbled, because although I think I'm like a really smart person and like my like deduction skills are amazing and like I will figure this out, I probably won't, and I'll probably be severely humbled by this. So the next book that we have is A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing. This was actually a book club book for Jamie's book club in, I think, November, but my copy arrived on like the 29th of November and the live show was on the 30th, so I did not read it in time, and I still haven't. And I've lost the motivation because the live show's passed. I can't discuss it with my friends anymore, so it has now taken up residence on my TBR. Again, it's just a thriller. I like having thrillers on my TBR just as like an option, because I go through them really quickly and I always need to have a thriller at the ready when I feel like it. So yeah,
Can't tell you when I'll read it because it's not like a high priority, but if I'm in the mood for a thriller, I might as well pick this up. Next, we have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This was super, super hyped. I think last year or maybe even 2 years ago at this point. I definitely got my copy of this last summer and I really wanted to read it, but then I just, again, didn't really have the time, wasn't really in a super romancy mood last year, and just had other romances that I prioritized. But I would really like to get to this. I think I haven't read a smutty, like cheesy romance in a while, so maybe I should give this one a go soon. We have another romance that is super hyped that I haven't read yet, and that is From Look Off With Love by Mariana Zapata. Listen, I have an issue. I bought this book 2 years ago at this point. 2 years? A year and a half? 2 years. I think 2 years ago. And I really meant to read it and wanted to read it, but I think the hype is just over. I just don't have the motivation to read it because I feel like everyone has already read this book. No one is speaking about it anymore. It's not like in anyone's videos. Like, it's not a current favorite. This was like a favorite like a few years ago. But I feel like now everyone's kind of stopped talking about it, and so the motivation for me to read this has gone. Like, I've just missed the hype train. The hype has passed without me. Like, why should I read it now? So if you have read this and you think it's worthy of me reading it even in 2024, let me know, because I'm unsure, and I don't know. I've never read Mariana Zapata before. Maybe I'm missing out. Let me know if I'm missing out, and I will give this one a go. But right now, I don't know. I'm not motivated. I have no motivation. I'm so sorry if I'm like picking up your favorite book and like showing it to the camera and being like, I don't want to read this anymore. I feel really bad for that, but I'm just giving my honest opinion because I think I have to give reasons for why all these books are chilling on my TBR forever. The next two books are again ones that I got from Jamie when she unhauled her books. So we have You Deserve Each Other and Love in Other Words. So both of these are like romances that I know they won't be amazing because obviously Jamie unhauled them for a reason, but I just like having some choice in my romances. Sometimes I want like a palate cleanser. Sometimes I want like a romance that is just gonna be like a 3-star, just as like a thing in between like big 5-star books, because I need something to just like be an easy read, nothing too spectacular, just like a palate cleanser, and I think these will be perfect for that. The next 4 books, I'm actually ashamed to share with you how long they've been on my TBR, because we have How to Kill Your Family has been on my TBR for easily 2 years at this point. I don't know why. I got it because it was really cheap, and it's been on my TBR for 2 years. Last night at the Telegraph Club, I think we're coming on to 3 years of me owning this book. I definitely got this in... I think I got this in 2021. It's been 3 years. The Hating Game. As you can see, I got this for £3, also like 2.5, 3 years ago. I haven't read it yet. I don't know why I have it. And I think Such a Fun Age takes the crown for the book that has been on my TBR the longest, because I have owned this since 2020, 2021, early 2021 maybe? I think maybe 2020. Okay, this is 2021, so it was 2021. So this has also been on my TBR for like a generous 3 years. I bought this during the like Black Lives Matter, like George Floyd thing, movement. I wanted to buy this, I wanted to read this and like get into the like activism scene and like really like read fiction that deals with the issue and like explores like activism, performative activism, and all those things. And I heard amazing things about this book, and then I just didn't read it and left it on my TBR. But now I've seen that Kylie Reid's new book has come out. I think Come and Get It. I saw it in a couple of bookstores, so maybe that will be my push to read this one, so I know if I like Kylie Reid's writing style and if I want to read Come and Get It, because I've seen the cover and I've been really interested in it, but like I cannot buy another book from her before reading this one. Like I can't do it. I just can't. So yeah, this is the book that has been on my TBR the longest. Please forgive me. I know it's meant to be great. I just haven't read it yet. We are finally almost there. I've already been filming for like 30 minutes. We're almost there. Next, we have The Murder Game by Tom Hindle. Again, I just wanted like a thriller, like a murder mystery. I really love those like cozy murder mysteries where you kind of guess along the characters. They have a really like British vibe, and I think this one gives me the exact vibes of that. Kind of reminded me from the vibes of like The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I really loved, so I picked this up. I have Foul as Fair by Hannah Capin. I unfortunately hate this cover. I wish I got a prettier cover because I want to read the book, like the story I want to read. I don't want to read this. I don't want to read this cover. I don't like it. I don't want to be seen in public with this. It looks awful. I'm so sorry. I really regret buying this edition because I think if I bought a different edition, I probably would have already read this, but again, I don't know. Next, we have a cover that is absolutely gorgeous though, and that is The Mercies. I have been meaning to read this ever since I picked it up. Like, it's on the top of my TBR, but I think, again, I'm a little bit too intimidated by it, and I think I will need a little more like brain space than I currently have to read this, because this is set in like 1617 Norway, and it just sounds like a world or like world building that takes a little bit of like brain capacity. So I've been meaning to read this when I go like on vacation, like maybe once I'm like on a trip on vacation and I have a lot of like brain space to read, I will pick this up because I want to read it, but I want to give it its like worthy moment. Like, I want to give it its time to shine. I want to be able to understand it and follow it and appreciate it. Next, we have Mother Thing. I have been meaning to read this. Again, I really want to read this. This is like a horror, like dark story about, I think, a couple that moves in with their like mother-in-law, and mysterious like creepy things happen. I don't really know, but I love a family drama. I love a horror. I love anything that's like weird and creepy, so I need to read this. I also love the cover and I really, really want to read it. I don't know why I haven't yet. I kind of forgot I owned this, but now that I've picked it up and like looked at it, it's back like at the top of my TBR. Guys, you don't want to see the stack of books that I just have next to me, like on either side. There is one, and it's getting a bit intimidating. They might fall on me at any point. Next up, we have Rules for Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. Peter Swanson wrote The Kind Worth Killing, one of my favorite thrillers, and I've been meaning to pick up the rest of his books, but then I heard his other books are apparently really shit. So I heard that his other books really suck, so I haven't been super motivated to pick up this book, but the concept of it does sound fun because it's about, I think, there's like a guy in this who wrote like a list of books that have like perfect murders in them. So a list of books that have like perfectly crafted murders in them. And then someone starts to like reenact those murders in real life. And it's like a super fun concept. I actually do want to read this soon. I kind of want to read this now. I kind of want to put this on my June TBR because now it sounds really fun. I do want to read this. I'm scared that I will hate it because I've just not heard great things about it. I don't think it has the best like ratings on Goodreads, but like the concept sounds incredible. Like, how could it be bad if it has such a good concept? Next up, we have another Grady Hendrix. We have The Final Girl Support Group. Again, I bought this because I knew I liked Grady Hendrix's writing, and then I looked up the Goodreads reviews, and this one does not have the best Goodreads reviews. Like, a lot of people are giving this like 1 or 2 stars. And so I'm a little unsure if I should read it or not, but I already bought it, so like I might as well read it and like form my own opinion of it. But again, it's just a thriller I have in case I'm like in the mood for a thriller, in case I want to pick something up that is a Grady Hendrix and I've run out of other things, but it's not at like the top of my TBR. Guys, I'm actually like, look at this. Look at this stack of books that's just growing next to me. It's a lot. I need to do like a count after I've shown you every single one because I don't know how many I currently own. So I'm assuming it's like 40 or something, or maybe 50. Maybe 50 is a good guess. I don't know. I will do a count afterwards. Next, I have another thriller that I picked up, I think around my birthday last year, just because it sounded fun. And that is Bad Things Happen Here by Rebecca Barrow. Again, another one that I bought just because like it's a fun thriller, like it'll be a nice like palate cleanser, like just like something easy to read. And then I checked the Goodreads reviews, and this has quite low reviews. I think it's one of my lowest rated books on Goodreads. And so it's been like not a super high priority for me. Again, I'll keep it. I will someday probably pick it up. I might not. We shall see. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. Next, we have A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I bought this when I was in like a fantasy phase and like a dark academia phase. I'm not really in a dark academia phase anymore. I bought this around the same time that I bought If We Were Villains, and I just haven't been in the mood for dark academia since, so never picked this up. Next, we have The Man Who Died Twice by Richard Osman. I really want to read this book. I don't know why I haven't. This is the second book in the Thursday Murder Club series, and I really loved the Thursday Murder Club. Like the first book, I gave like 4.5 stars, or maybe even 5 stars. In my head, I have a really good like image of that book, and I really want to continue it. But for some reason, I just never pick it up. I don't know. I think I just forget that I own it, and it's just not a major priority for me. Also, the fact that like the third, and I think at this point even the fourth book have already come out, makes me a little bit like scared to continue the series, because I just know that I have so many books that I need to like catch up on, and I just know that I will need to read this book and then the third book and then the fourth book to be up to date. And for some reason I just never pick this up. Like I'm just never motivated to continue the series, but it's a shame because the first one was really great and I should be reading this. Next, we have the entire Poppy War trilogy. Look, I want to read this so badly. I love R.F. Kuang. I love her writing. I loved her other books. I loved Babel. Babel's one of my favorite books. I loved Yellowface. But something about the Poppy War, maybe it's because it's a series, maybe it's because it's like Chinese history, it really scares me. Like something about it really intimidates me. And I know that people have said to me that like, yes, it's a bit complicated, but it is accessible. Like it's not that hard to read. And I'm not a dumb person. Like I could understand this probably, but for some reason, I'm just terrified of it. Please, someone like yell at me to read this. Someone make me read it, because I literally started the Poppy War like 2 years ago, or like a year and a half ago at this point. And I enjoyed the first chapter, but then I just didn't continue it. I don't know why. I have no idea why. Next, we have a little book that I don't think you actually read this normally, but that is Kane's Jawbone. This is the like puzzle book where you have to like cut out all of the pages and put them in correct order, because in here they're in the wrong order, and apparently only like 4 people have ever solved this. It says it's extremely difficult. It's extremely like takes a ton of dedication. I want to do it, but like I just don't see myself doing it like alongside uni, because I feel like this requires the same amount of work and dedication, and probably also the same amount of resilience that I need for uni, and I do not think I can do both at the same time. Next, I have another thriller. How many thrillers can one person have on their TBR? I don't know, but I have Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll, and I really want to read this. To be fair, I haven't had this for too long. I got this for Christmas this year, or like last year, and I've been meaning to read this, but I just haven't been reading too many thrillers. But this is probably going to be one of the next thrillers I pick up, so whenever I'm in the mood for a thriller, I'll probably reach for this one, because I am really in the mood for it, and it's highly anticipated for me. I think I will love this book, so I will probably read it soon. Okay, we're down to one more book. We are at the end. The last book on my TBR is That Green-Eyed Girl. Again, this is like a thriller that I never heard anyone talk about. I've never heard anyone speak about this, but I saw this really gorgeous edition in Waterstones, and I really liked the cover with like the drink. And I also got a signed edition of this, and so I thought I would just give it a chance and pick it up. I actually did already start this once, and I kind of like soft DNF'd it because it just wasn't hooking me at that point, but I am willing to give it another chance maybe. at a time where I'm more interested in it or more in the mood for something, because I think this is like slightly historical. It has like 2 timelines, and one timeline is I think in like the 70s. It's in 1975, and that point was just, for me, that storyline was just a bit too historical for me, and I just struggled a little bit with like the timeline and the point of view. So I decided to put this down again, but I am still keen to pick this up one day, so it is remaining on my TBR for now. Okay, my guess was not super far off. I have 47 unread books. 47 is like an okay number. I think that's okay. Like, that is under 50. Now, the thing that I didn't tell you is that I also have an entire like classics collection that I didn't count, because I would have another like 20 unread classics on there. But for me, my classics collection, I don't see it as part of like my TBR, because for me that's like separate. I'm not planning to read every single classic that I own. I just kind of have them because I studied English. I am a literature student, and I just, at the beginning of my studies, really wanted to invest in like a large set of classics. So I got like a box set, but I'm not interested in every single book that was in the box set. So I don't plan on reading every single classic that I have. And also for me, that is like a lifelong mission. Like, I want to read my classics over the span of my life, not over the span of a year. It's unrealistic for me to think that I'll read 20 classics in a year, because they're just not my usual thing I read. So I'm not counting those as part of like my current TBR, because for me they're like a lifelong mission, and they're an investment that I made. I didn't buy them individually. I bought a box set. I'm not going to read every single one. Like, who thinks I'm going to read David Copperfield? That would be insane. That book is like 800 pages long. I'm not going to read you. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that was my entire TBR. I'm so happy I got to show you every single book I haven't read. It was only slightly embarrassing, like only slightly shameful to be holding up like the Poppy War and be like, I haven't read this because I'm scared. But yeah, please, as I said in the beginning, let me know if there are books on here that you want me to read, like now, like preferably yesterday. So I will see you soon with another video. Hopefully it's one where I actually read some of the books in this video, some of the books on my TBR. Maybe it's one where I will do a 24-hour readathon, or like a reading vlog where I try to read the books on my TBR that have been on it for a while. So let me know if you want to see like any specific videos, any content that you want to see. Otherwise, again, sorry for the radio silence and not being here for a while. I duly apologize, and I'm hoping that I will see you a lot sooner this time. Hopefully I have some time to film this upcoming week and can bring you some more content. I'm loving it. I'm excited. I thank you so much for the support, and see you next time. Bye bye.